Hey, good morning. I'm waiting for my friend Laura Lee, the videographer for Street Feed, to arrive here on this early cold morning in Sebastopol on September 17th. So I thought I would do this quick little video. I've always wanted to share the history of foot care nursing in the United States because it's something I am kind of part of, and as far as I know, and I could be wrong. And if anybody knows anything different, then put it under the comments. But I'm going to tell you what I believe to be my version of foot care nursing in the United States, and it'll go into Canada a little bit. But okay, so as far as I can figure out by talking to some very old nurses, and this was a long time ago, like 15 years ago in a restaurant, I saw some nurses that were like in their 90s, and I said, so did you cut toenails? Because, we're not supposed to cut toenails, or we're not taught, nurses are not taught toenail care in nursing school. At least I wasn't. Most nurses I know are not presently. So I asked them if they were, and they go, oh yeah, we did the foot care. So I believe what happened was years ago, nursing did toenail care and foot care because there was no such thing as podiatrists. And then World War II came along. The field of podiatry popped up after that. And then somehow the foot care transferred over to podiatrists, and Medicare covered routine foot care for everybody up until about 20, maybe 25 years ago now, something like that. Everybody could have routine foot care, so everybody of Medicare age and older had a podiatrist that they would go to. Then what happened in 23, 24 years ago is Medicare quit covering routine foot care except for very specific high-risk people, and that's kind of a whole nother topic. So that meant that all these people who used to go to podiatrists no longer had a podiatrist, or they had to pay a fee for service. So that changed the whole scheme of things, and that's when I came onto the scene. So there had been, as far as I can tell through word of mouth, is that there were some nurses around the country in the 80s and, doing some homeless foot care. I think there were some nurses in Berkeley I've heard about. There was one nurse, Jane, oh God, Jane, I'm so sorry, countryside nurse back in Massachusetts. She's really the mother of, her and Teresa Kalichai, I consider the mother of foot care nursing, the mothers of foot care nursing. I'm maybe a granddaughter or something like that. But Jane Kelly, sorry, Jane, senior moment. So Jane Kelly had the first website. She really went out there, and she was countryside foot care nursing. And by really being the first one to break the barriers of doing that, she got a lot of flack, I think. She got a lot of feedback from podiatrists, and there's a lot of political repercussions, and I think she just kind of kept about her business but went off grid, which I don't blame her. I'm heading there myself. So there was Jane Kelly, and then Teresa Kalichai started the foot care nurse department at the University of Charleston. She is who really is responsible for me being wherever I am today as far as foot care goes, her encouragement and stuff. So when I came in to play and was hired as the diabetic foot care nurse by Kaiser Richmond in 1994, 93 or 94, that was the first time I'd ever heard of a nurse doing foot care. And it was Kaiser, so they don't care about the politics. They just want whoever can legally do it to do it, who is the least expensive. So that was nurses at that time. So that's how I started out in the field. And what I did was I was hired for this job. Actually, the interview was for an occupational health nurse. They misposted it. So I go in for a 12-hour-a-week job as an occupational health nurse, desperate for some sort of regular hours. And they said, it's mostly cutting diabetics' toenails. And I said, we can't do that. They go, yes, we can. Anyway, it was misposted. I took the job. That's how it started for me there. But, and what happened was I was thrown into it. They had arranged for me to shadow another foot nurse within the Kaiser system in the Bay Area. And they sent me to the wrong building. It was like a 4-hour drive for me. So by the time I actually got to spend some time orienting, there was 2 hours left, and I shadowed this woman and saw her cut 3 people's toenails using the same nippers that she dipped into alcohol between patients, using very what I consider crude and rudimentary instruments and technique right now. But that was my orientation. So the following Monday, I was put into a schedule with a full schedule of high-risk diabetics who had ulcers and everything else in the world. So, I mean, I didn't even know what neuropathy was. I had no, when I was in nursing school in the 70s, there was no diabetes. So we didn't, I just knew nothing about it. And I was really, really thrown into the fire of that. But there was a podiatrist there, and he kind of showed me how to, you know, cut the nails, and I loved it, and I loved the patients, and that's how I got my start. But what happened was, being part of that large HMO, I had the access to medical record librarians, the medical record librarians. No, I'm sorry, medical librarians. It wasn't patient records. It was doing searches on the internet. So I asked them to do a search on foot care nursing, toenails, diabetic foot care, whatever. So I had, they did that, and I got about 30 articles, and I put them in this little file box, and I was so proud of myself. So that was my first self-teaching, because I realized there was really nothing out there. And then in one of the articles I read, it was written by Teresa Kelachai, and back in those days, you know, there wasn't like emails or easy access to the internet like there is now, and I literally called the University of Charleston, got her department, left her a voicemail, something. I reached out to her, and luckily she was in a good mood, I guess, because she took me on. And on a side note, this has happened to me. Many nurses have kind of consulted me and want me to help them, and sometimes if I have the time and I'm in the mood, I will, and other times I'm just like too busy and I can't, and that's happening more and more, which is why I'm going on YouTube. Anyway, so back to Teresa Kelachai. So, hi, Laura Lee. Okay, so this will be part 1. Laura Lee's coming to give me other ones, so stay tuned for part 2. If I can just remember, I'll watch this again. When I come to meet Teresa, we'll go from there.